Family members were killed in the September 11th terror attacks, telling them that the mastermind behind the attack and the other defendants being held at Guantanamo Bay could avoid the death penalty thanks to a potential plea deal. Terry Strada lost her husband, Tom Strada, in the 9/11 attacks. She just received one of those letters, and she joins me now. Terry, thank you so much for coming on to talk about this. How do you feel about this possible plea deal?
It feels like a betrayal. It feels like the government is choosing to protect the mastermind, the perpetrators, the financiers, everyone that's ever been involved with September 11th and the murder of nearly 3,000 people on American soil. This administration and past administrations have chosen to protect them over us.
Yeah. I'm sure it was a shock when you read that letter and learned of this. I don't know if all of the details of this plea deal have been ironed out yet, but it sounds like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and the 4 other 9/11 plotters would agree to plead guilty in exchange for the death penalty to be taken off the table. So the Biden administration might be interested in this to move the trial forward. How do you feel about that?
I feel like the Biden administration should order them not to accept this plea deal and not to have it on the table at all. The 9/11 family, the community, we deserve accountability, and that's what this really boils down to, is the accountability for the murder of our loved ones, and to have a trial or to have a plea deal where they plead guilty, but there is no trial. The evidence doesn't get to see the light of day like it should. They don't get to be questioned on the stand. We don't get the full story of what happened, and they deserve no mercy. When you go to Guantanamo Bay, and I've been there, you are shown their confession. They happily said they did it. They have no remorse. They would do it again. And they think Americans are stupid and that we deserve what we get when they come over and they terrorize us the way they did. So why do they deserve any type of mercy now? I say take it off the table and let's have the trial and let's get the full accountability that we all deserve. And let's have this government also support all of our information, all of the declassified documents that they have still refused to declassify on this, and let's get the truth, and let's the families have some closure to this horrible chapter.
You know, Terry, you bring up such a good point in that these decisions aren't made in a bubble. So if the people responsible for the murder of nearly 3,000 Americans get a plea deal handed down by our government to spare their lives, what does that say to our adversaries around the world?
Right. It's showing a very weak signal that we are not doing what we should be doing, and that is the full force of everything we have going after these terrorist organizations and holding them accountable. Like I said, whether it's the financiers, the ones that gave the logistical support, and this all goes back to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We know now because of U.S. intelligence reports how deeply involved they were. And these are al-Qaeda operatives, and the kingdom was financially supporting al-Qaeda. And it all goes back to the kingdom, Wahhabism, their hate-filled ideology that they spread around the world and that infiltrated the minds of people like, KSM and all of them. And they believe that they were doing the right thing by doing this. And we need to send a signal back. No, absolutely not.
Absolutely.
We will not stand for this. And we should have the death penalty on the table, and it should go through.
Yeah. Well, Terry, we thank you so much for joining us this morning to talk about this very disappointing development. We're so glad that you were able to get your message out really quickly. The government did say that they would take 9/11 families' viewpoints on this into consideration, but it sounds like you have to fill out a form and respond to an FBI Victim Service Division by Monday with comments. Do you plan to do that?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm encouraging every family member that got one to do the same.
Good. Opinions matter, and your voice definitely does. Terry, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be watching this.
Thank you.